There are two ways that I see lack of ownership showing up in storytelling and ruining your opportunities for deep connection, whether that's for new business opportunities or for brilliant collaborations. And they land on either end of the spectrum. On one end, we have not owning our faults, not owning those things that make us quirky and imperfect. And on the flip side, not owning our fabulousness, the things that we are really good at. Now, on the quirks side, a lot of times this idea, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're looking to present yourself in a better light in your workplace or whatever it might be, a lot of times we think that we need to show up as perfect, as flawless. But in a really counterintuitive way, we identify much better and we root for those people who are capable of showing their imperfections. And when I say ownership of those imperfections, I don't mean flaunt them about and say like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm disorganized. But for me, for example, I am not always the most organized person, but my lack of organization in certain places is also part of my creative expression, my capacity to build new things, to come up with crazy ideas, and they're all part of the same mechanism. And when I own that fact that, yes, perhaps my organization skills definitely have room for improvement, and I'm able to communicate that in a way that is natural and just that I own that part of myself, then I find that other people are willing to root for me even more. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine was talking about the movie Finding Nemo the other day. And if you look at the main characters, who are we rooting for? We're rooting for a neurotic father and basically an amnesiac fish who's his guide, right? And when we see these different characters in the movie that we fall in love with, right? I mean, Dory can't remember anything. She forgets that she can read. She forgets all of these different things. Then we run into the sharks, and the sharks are all in, therapy trying to get over the fact that they don't want to eat fish anymore. So these little things, right? We think, of course we fall in love with them. Of course we like them. But imagine that these characters came in and the animators had decided to make them perfect. He was a perfect father. Nothing was wrong. He never did anything wrong. Dory remembered everything. She was totally organized and knew exactly what to do at every moment. The story would fall flat. We wouldn't be nearly as excited to see how it unfolded, or we wouldn't be nearly as excited to root for those characters because we can identify with faults. We can identify with someone else seeing that they struggle with things. And when we see somebody else doing that and they're owning it, they're able to hold space for their imperfections, we go, damn, that's like, I like this. I can identify with that. I want to be more like that. So that's one half of the ownership. That's owning our faults and flaws and quirks. The other place that I see a lot of folks struggling is owning your fabulousness, because you think that if you show what you're great at and how you do things really well in certain areas, that you'll come off as arrogant, as an asshole, whatever it might be. And again, it's the same kind of thing. I'm not suggesting that you become this boastful person who is like, I kick ass in these areas. No. But, for example, here's a simple thing. Taking a compliment. When somebody says, wow, that workshop was really amazing. Saying like, hey, instead of going, no, it was nothing. Saying, hey, thanks, that really means a lot. I put a lot of effort and time into creating it, so I'm really glad you enjoyed it. That doesn't make me sound like an asshole. That makes me sound like somebody who intentionally put something together, presented it in such a way with a lot of love and care, and that I'm grateful that it landed well with you. So the next time that you're thinking about your communication and how you're sharing your personal story, who you are in this world, whatever world that might be, in your professional, in your personal world, remember to own both the flaws and the fabulousness. And by ownership, again, just being able to hold space for the fact that we are beautiful, dynamic beings.